Hello out there, in there, out there, up there, down there, from in here, out here. Big lightning storm coming in last night. Woo! Over the lake. Wow. Notice Vivi just in from her walk. She has her toy, her Chewy. Her Chewy. She's enjoying it. Vivi's nose. Ah, boy. Last night, whew. I think I'm still recovering this morning from last night's my landscape. We call ourselves the landscapers of poetry. How's that? And wow, what an incredible. They are so different from one another, and what it just shows over and over again that how often, I don't know, what is it? We live in a culture, what do you have in common? What do you have in common? And here are these 13 people who do not have things in common. Their poems are remarkably distinct from one another. You'd know right away who wrote this. Annie wrote this, Jeff wrote that, Jim wrote this, Mary wrote that. And they don't need names on them. They're authentic, they're marvelous, they're real, and they're so warm and loving and helpful with each other, and they're so glad to be together. Always want to meet more than once a month. So with that, welcome to the Sentimentalist. I'm Art. Mariana, who's a member of that group. We get to see her out of the care unit in Ohio. Marianne Sundquist is in the group, and Marianne's she's the leading caterer for this Santa Fe Literary Festival, and she feeds the famous. And then there's 46,000 people come. Oh, imagine that. So we had such a great time. And Vivi, she just has better walks. We did have a little snow the other day. How about you guys? Wherever you are, did you have snow? Oh boy. Ooh my, yeah, snow. And I went and planted pansies because Jim Ellis gave me two flats of pansies for my birthday, along with a couple of books, but 2 flats of pansies. And I got almost all of them in, and it snowed. Those pansies, they're such sweethearts, but boy, they're tough too. Ooh, we even had one come back from last year. Came back. They're not supposed to come back. They're annuals, for heaven's sakes. Come on. What's that about? Where are you going, kid? Look at this. We'll get comfortable, for heaven's sakes. Get comfortable. Oh, big sigh. Big sigh. Yeah. Good girl. She is a good girl. Julie's spinning. Yep. And, boy, they did some stuff at yoga today. We were moving our arms and our legs, and I've got this neuropathy stuff, and I could barely walk her today when I came back. Yesterday, I was just wobbling along, and we don't need that. We don't need that. Yep. Did I tell you we had snow and I planted pansies? Yeah. There's John Mauck does this beautiful show out of Traverse City called Prose from the Underground. And if you can find it, you can find it on YouTube. Yeah, check it out. He does stuff that I've never really seen, but I haven't seen that much. but he's interviewing somebody, and then he'll have these graphics come on, and they're beautifully integrated, and he's such a wonderful guy, and he's so intelligent, and he wears it so sweetly. Time for slurping. There we go. Right, we're waking up. So watch for John Malk's Prose from the Underground on YouTube, and a film Julie and I watched the other night that I think a lot of you would really like if you haven't seen it. It's a documentary, and the title is Turn the Page, and it's about that wonderful creative nonfiction writer Robert Caro. You know, the power. I can't get that name right.
Power Brokers.
The Power Broker.
And all the Lyndon Johnson books.
And all the people in New York and all that, right?
All the Lyndon Johnson.
And then the series on Lyndon Johnson. He's up to his 5th book, and he's in his 90s. And it's a documentary of him and Robert Gottlieb, the great editor of all. Oh my gosh, you got to see the lineup. The guy who discovered Catch-22, Toni Morrison. The list is endless. They show this list of the people he's edited. And what's brilliant about him, you know, if you've ever been in school or whatever, you get corrected. And Gottlieb comes right out and he says that I don't believe in that. He says, I believe in trying to help the author create the book the author wants to create. It's not my book. It's the author's book. And Viv just left here, and I don't know. I didn't do anything. What's the deal? She's just standing over there looking around like, is there something here we need? Are you going to... I don't know. Come on, she's usually... Well, I don't know what she's doing. So anyway, watch for that. Turn the Page, Robert Gott. And he's 90-some. And it took his daughter 5 years to talk him in, both of them, into doing this documentary. They're like two 96-year-olds. They're like two little kids in Central Park. They're just wonderful. Can I say adorable about these two brilliant guys? Well, they are. They're just, you're captivated. And it's just them talking and walking. Yeah. We have too many. You know, here's the thing. When in your time did disagreeing become the other person as an enemy? What is that about? It's scary out there. We're sad about it, aren't we? Can you imagine what every one of us has to do now? What we used to love to do, we end up needing to do so that we can help ourselves through the day, I guess. Boy. And speaking of enemies, I'm having to blurb this book by a former student. It's just marvelous. It's called Enemies in the Orchard, based on a true story. She's comes from an apple-growing family, and this happened during World War II, so it goes back a few generations before it's passed down to her orchard. But I never knew this. Prisoners of war during World War II, the Nazis, they brought them to the United States. First of all, they couldn't believe the size of the United States. They couldn't get over it. But they ended up needing the workers on the apple farm. Look out, she just went downstairs. There she goes. You heard that, right? Wow, thundering herd. So, you know, the guy, the relative, the orchard, they're all in the war. So they decide to replace the workers in the United States with prisoners of war. And they take really good care of them. And her story, 267 young adult novel written in verse, poems. And the 13-year-old from the orchard growing family and about a 20-some-year-old guy from prisoner of war, Nazi, they become friends. This book's going to last. This is an important book, speaking of enemies. It's called Enemies in the Orchard. Watch for it. It will be out in September. And I think any of you who spend time here are going to want to take a look at that. My colleague for so many years, he came the year after me, Stephen Hemenway. He's a legend at the college. He's a legend. And he's retiring. Ready? 51 years. 51 years. Think how many students that is. And I know he's saved stuff from every one of those students. He has it stored. And he's loved. They named the one of the what do you call them? One of the theaters, not an amphitheater, theater. I don't know. Has seats that are inclined in a stage there. They named it after Stephen Hemenway. Stephen came down when we had our houseboat in Key West. I'll finish up with it, but he came down because he was going to teach a course in Ernest Hemingway. And Ernest Hemingway's name originally, the family name was Hemenway. So Hemingway is actually part of the Hemingway family. And he belongs to, now he's recognized by the Hemingway Society of Here, There, and Everywhere. And so he comes down to learn about Ernest Hemingway in Key West. And there's a tour in Key West that goes to all the, did I already tell this? It goes to all the writers' houses and teaches people about the writers' site. It's incredible, the writers that lived there, Tennessee Williams, Shel Silverstein, Elizabeth Bishop. Did I say Ernest Hemingway? Ernest Hemingway. It just goes, there's more, you know. And they take you around the town and go to the house and talk about it. So he comes back and I said, how was the tour? And he said, it was good. He said, I learned a lot. And so did she. Isn't that wonderful? That's Stephen. To Stephen. 51 years. And I know he wanted to keep going. They probably dragged him out of there. I can't believe he wants to stop. Well, let's have a poem for today that seems appropriate. I read this one, it seems, every year at this time because it's Michigan, so it seems appropriate. And I had it marked correctly, and now it moved. So I have to go to the table of contents. See, I marked it with that marker there. Did you see that? Yeah. 78. What do I have? 77. Close. Little poem. They're all little. It's called It's April and It Should Be Spring. The gods are tired of tending fires. Against the window, a cold rain. Each night, the hour hand moves time and us closer to the light. No one wants to go out. No one wants to stay in. And the rain. Robins do their silly walk across the lawn. dead grass dangling from their beaks. Crocuses raise their purple risk through the ice-crusted mulch of maple, oak, beech, and willow. They last a day. Clumps of daffodils stay, blossom tight. We want to put away sweaters. What would the saints do? We haul in more wood. It is raining. Sunday, and it is raining. And it is cold. Winter's wedged itself into a crack along the equinox. We know, in time, the trees will bud, the flowers rise and bloom. We do what the earth does. Take care, be kind, try to be cheerful. Thanks for being with me.